we already have gone through the formulas for solvency ratios. Now let us start solving the sums based on the long-term solvency ratios. Question number 1, you can see that compute the debt equity ratio from the following information. The information given to us is total assets, total debts and current liabilities. You can see that I have prepared a balance sheet again in the T shape. Let us place the values. Total assets can be seen as rupees 4 lakh. The total of assets rupees 4 lakh can be seen over here. And we all know that the total of assets and total of liabilities will be same. So total of assets and total of liabilities is 4 lakh. Total debts is given to us. Now total debts, we all know that the total debts will include non-current liabilities and current liabilities. So let me place the amount of total debts. Total debts is 2,50,000. Okay. Out of total debts, we are told that the current liabilities is 1 lakh rupees. So let me place the amount of current liabilities, that is 1 lakh. Okay. Now let us calculate the amount of non-current liabilities because that will be required for the calculation, that is debts, long-term debts. So if total debts is 2,50,000 out of which current liabilities is 1 lakh, so it is quite understood that this amount will be 1,50,000. Apart from this, we also will be in need of calculation of shareholders fund. So let us calculate the shareholders fund also. If the total of the liability side is 4 lakh, out of 4 lakh, if total debts is 2,50,000, so shareholders fund will be 1,50,000. This is how we calculate the shareholders funds and the long-term debts. Now let us place it, how to present it in board exams. Whatever things we have done in the balance sheet, the same thing we need to apply over here. Let us calculate first of all shareholders fund. So shareholders fund will be equal to the total assets minus total debts. This is how we calculated the balance sheet also. The same thing I am applying over here. Okay. So let us place the values. Shareholders fund is equal to total assets can be seen as rupees 4 lakh minus total debts is rupees 2,50,000. So the difference is 1,50,000. This is how you calculate shareholders fund. Now we are also given total debts, and from total debts we have calculated non-current liabilities. So let us calculate that. Let us write the formula for that. Long-term debts. Long-term debts is equal to total debts minus current liabilities. Let us place the values over there now. So long-term debts will be equal to total debts can be seen as rupees 2,50,000, right? Minus current liability was 1 lakh. Okay, so difference over here is again 1,50,000. So we are having with us shareholders fund, that is equity, and long-term debts, that is long-term borrowings, right? Let us now write the formula for debt equity ratio. So debt equity ratio is equal to, the formula is very simple, that was debts upon equity. So let me write this over here, debts upon equity. Debts refers to long-term debts, equity refers to shareholders fund. Okay, so debts over here, debt equity ratio will be equal to debts, that is long-term debts. Long-term debts we have calculated as rupees 1,50,000, and equity also was calculated, that is 1,50,000. Okay, so the ratio will come to 1:1. Okay, so this is a very simple sum to start with to understand the concept of long-term solvency ratios. Let us have one more sum on debt equity ratio. We can see that long-term borrowings is given to us, long-term borrowings, long-term provisions, current liabilities, non-current assets, and current assets. This is information given to us, and we've been asked to calculate debt equity ratio. Again, for calculations, this balance sheet will help us. Long-term borrowings and long-term provisions. Two amounts are given, and we all know that these two amounts are the contents of non-current liabilities. Total amount is 6 lakh. So let me write this 6 lakh over here as non-current liabilities. Current liabilities amount is given to us as 1 lakh. So let me write 1 lakh over here. Non-current assets amount is rupees 7,20,000. So let me write this 7,20,000, and current assets is 1,80,000. So by placing the values in the balance sheet, we come to know that shareholders fund is not given to us. We'll get that by deducting the non-current and the current liabilities from the total assets. Total of assets will be 7,20,000 plus 1,80,000, that is 9 lakh rupees. 9 lakh is the total of asset. The same will be total of liabilities as well. Out of 9 lakh, if 6 lakh plus 1 lakh is non-current liabilities and current liabilities, so 7 lakh, the difference will be 2 lakh. That will be my shareholders fund. So I'm done with the calculation of shareholders funds, that is equity and debts we are well aware of. But again, as I told you, what we have to show is in the board exams. So let me write this for you people. Debts will be equal to long-term borrowings plus long-term provisions. Okay, let us place the values over there. Debts will be equal to long-term borrowings can be seen as rupees 4 lakh plus long-term provisions can be seen as rupees 2 lakh. Total comes to 6 lakh rupees. Okay, now how to calculate equity? So for equity, the formula will be, let me write total assets and minus total debts. Okay, total assets will be equal to non-current assets plus current assets. So let us place the values over here. So total assets will be equal to 7,20,000 plus current asset is 1,80,000. So total is rupees 9 lakh. Okay. After that, total debts. Now total debts will be equal to non-current liabilities plus current liabilities. Let us place the values over here. So total debts will be equal to non-current liabilities can be seen as rupees 6 lakh. Current liability is rupees 1 lakh. So total is 7 lakh rupees. Now we have total assets with us. We have total debts with us. So we can calculate shareholders funds, that is equity. So let me write equity. Equity will be equal to total assets minus total debts. Okay, so that will be equal to, let us place the values over here. Total assets was 9 lakh. Equity will be equal to 9 lakh minus total debts can be seen as rupees 7 lakh. So the difference is rupees 2 lakhs. Okay. Now once we are done with the contents of debts and equity, so let us write the formula for debt equity ratio. Now over here, let me write this. The formula for debt equity ratio. Okay. That equity ratio will be equal to, the formula was debts upon equity. Debts refers to long-term debts and long-term provisions together, and let us place the values over here now. So debt equity ratio will be equal to debt calculated was 6 lakh, and equity is rupees 2 lakh. So the ratio will come to 3:1. Okay, I'm sure you all have understood this, how to calculate debt equity ratio with the available information. Let us go through the next ratio now, total assets to debt ratio. We can see that the question asks us to calculate total assets to debt ratio from the following information. Non-current liabilities is given, non-current asset is given, and current asset is given. We can see that the formula for the total assets to debt ratio is total assets upon debts. Let us calculate that. Available information is non-current liability. So let me place this in the balance sheet. 6 lakh rupees is for non-current liabilities. Non-current assets and current asset is given. Non-current asset is rupees 10 lakhs. Current asset is rupees 3,40,000. So total comes to 13,40,000. Now the total of asset will be equal to the total of liabilities. So 13,40,000. And what we need actually, total assets to debt ratio. So we just need the total of the assets and the total of the non-current liabilities. Now both the totals are there with us. Let us apply the formula over here. Now let me write this. Okay, how I have calculated total assets. So total assets will be equal to non-current assets plus current assets. Let us place the values. Total assets will be equal to non-current asset is rupees 10 lakh plus current asset is 3,40,000. So total is 13,40,000. After that, let us place the values in the formula. Total assets to debt ratio. Total assets to debt ratio will be equal to, we know the formula, that is total assets upon debts. So total assets can be seen as 13,40,000 and debts is rupees 6 lakh. So 13,40,000 divided by 6 lakh, the answer will come to 2.23:1. So this is how we are able to solve this sum. Put up the available information in the balance sheet in the T-shaped format, which will ease your calculation process. We can see that the formula has been mentioned over here. Total assets calculated 1340 and non-current liabilities is directly given to us. So formula is values are placed in the formula and the answer comes to 2.23:1. Let us now have one more sum for proprietary ratio. Proprietary ratio is to be calculated with the help of the following information. We are given the information as long-term borrowings, long-term provisions. We all know that together they make it as non-current liabilities. Current liabilities given to us, non-current assets and current assets. Let us place all these values in the balance sheet. Long-term borrowings and long-term provisions, let me get the total of these two and write it as non-current liability. 2 lakh plus 1 lakh is 3 lakh rupees. So 3 lakh is my non-current liability. Current liability can be seen as rupees 50,000. Non-current assets and current assets, the values given to us is rupees 3,60,000 and 90,000. The total comes to 4,50,000 for the total of assets, and the same total has to go for the liabilities as well. Now, out of 4,50,000, if 3,50,000 represents the non-current, the current liability, the difference will be rupees 1 lakh for shareholders fund. We have been asked to calculate proprietary ratio. The formula for proprietary ratio can be seen over here, that is shareholders fund upon total assets. We have calculated total assets. We need to write that. So total assets will be equal to non-current assets plus current assets. Let us place the values to get the total assets. So total assets will be equal to non-current assets to amount given to us is 3,60,000 plus current asset is rupees 90,000. So total was 4,50,000. Next is now how I have calculated shareholders fund. So let us find that shareholders fund will be equal to total assets, right, minus non-current liabilities and minus current liabilities. So let us place the values over here to calculate shareholders fund. Shareholders fund will be equal to total assets was 4,50,000 less non-current liabilities is 3 lakh rupees minus current liability is rupees 50,000. So the answer will be, let me write this, shareholders fund will be equal to 4,50,000 minus 3 lakh minus 50, that will be rupees 1 lakh. So we have shareholders fund with us, we have total assets with us, we are ready to calculate proprietary ratio. Proprietary ratio will be equal to, let me place the values. Shareholders funds calculated is rupees 1 lakh and total asset is rupees 4,50,000. So the answer will be 4,50,000. 1 lakh divided by 4,50,000. So the answer is 0.22 ratio 1. Okay. Let us have one sum on interest coverage ratio. We are given the information as profit after interest and tax. Now this is to be taken care of. Profit after interest and tax is given to us rupees 4,97,000. Rate of income tax is 30%. 12% debentures is rupees 6 lakh. Right? As in the theory part, in the formula part, I have told you this table is definitely going to help us to calculate the profit before interest and taxes. Why I have marked profit before tax with red over here? The reason is very clear. I need to start with this profit before tax. I need to assume in a percentage over here as 100. I know like tax percentage is 30%. So let me deduct 30% from here. So profit after tax left out will be 70. Profit after interest and tax. And that is what exactly the amount is given to us as rupees 4,97,000. So let me write this profit after interest and tax rupees 4,97,000. Now I need to know how much is profit before tax. So the calculation will be very easy. For this 70%, if the amount is 4,97,000, then 400 it will be how much? This is what I need to calculate. Okay, for 70 it is 4,97,000, then 400 it will be how much? The amount comes to rupees 7,10,000. Okay, so this is profit before tax. Now we need to know how much is interest on long-term borrowings. Okay, so long-term borrowings can be seen over here as 12% debentures, rupees 6 lakh. On 6 lakh, 12%, that will be 72,000. So this is interest on long-term borrowings. Now, because we are moving in the reverse order, we need to add this 7,10,000 plus 72,000. The amount will be 7,82,000. So this is how we are able to calculate profit before interest and tax. I just repeat the things. I started with profit before tax. I have assumed this as 100 in terms of percentage. Tax rate given as 30%. So the remaining percentage left out with me is 70 as profit after interest and tax. Now if profit after interest and tax is 70 and the amount is 497, so 100 will be how much? So that has come to 7,10,000. Interest on long-term borrowings, interest on debentures, 12%, 6,72,000. So 7,10,000 plus 72 is 7,82,000 as profit before interest and tax. Now, let us calculate the formula for interest coverage ratio. Interest coverage ratio formula can be seen profit before interest and taxes upon interest on long-term debts. So let us place the values in this. Interest coverage ratio will be equal to profit before interest and taxes calculated by us is rupees 7,82,000, right? And Interest on long-term debts is rupees 72,000, 10.86 times. Because this is a type of a turnover ratio, so this tells us that our profit before interest and taxes is able to cover the long-term debts, interest on long-term debts for 10.86 times. One more sum for interest coverage ratio. We are given the information as profit after tax rupees 1,80,000 to be taken care of. This is profit after tax. Tax rate is 50%, 9% debentures rupees 3 lakhs, so interest can be seen as rupees 27,000. 10% mortgage loan rupees 2 lakhs, so interest will be rupees 20,000. Let us start with these calculations. Again, I'll start assuming the profit before tax as 100. Tax rate can be seen as 50%. So the profit after interest and taxes will be 50% only, right? And the amount given to us is profit after tax rupees 1,80,000. So let me write this amount as 1,80,000. Okay. So again, the same way as we have done in the previous sum, for this 50%, if the amount is 1,80,000, so for 100, it should be how much, or it will be how much, right? So for 50, 180, for 100, it's very easy to calculate. That will be 3,60,000. Now, interest on long-term borrowings. Long-term borrowings we have in the form of debentures and mortgage loan. Interest can be seen as rupees 27 and 20. So total is rupees 47,000. And now the total will be 3,60,000 plus 47 is rupees 4,07,000. This is how we calculate profit before interest and taxes. Let us apply the values in the formula. Interest coverage ratio is equal to profit before interest and taxes. We can see that profit before interest and taxes has come to rupees 4,07,000, and to be divided by interest on long-term debts, that is 47,000. Okay, so this answer will be 4,07,000 to be divided by 47,000. So answer comes to 8.66 times. 8.66 times. I'm sure I have made myself clear with the solvency ratios. Thank you so much.